Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
At the same time, everybody else learned it through news reports.
President Obama with Bill Plant of CBS News, the president telling us he just learned about Hillary's private email accounts the same time we did via news reports. We expect Hillary to address the controversy later this afternoon. A press conference, we believe it'll start around 1:40. We will monitor that and have it for you on Newsmax TV. So stay with us throughout the day for coverage of this story. Let's talk about it now. Bring in our panel. Conservative strategist Jack Berkman is with us from Newsmax Washington, and let's welcome in from Newsmax New York, Rick Ungar, co-host of the Sirius XM radio program Steele and Ungar. And Rick, I've never figured out why you didn't get top billing over Michael Steele for that program. At any rate.
You're so right, JD. I never have either.
Well, see, maybe just a fairness thing. You flip it every week, just give it every time it's on. Life ain't fair. Politics is tough.
Right.
The Washington Post, with an editorial yesterday about the Hillary controversy concerning email. Let me read you a part of it. Quote, if she wants to demonstrate the strength of character and judgment required to be president, Mrs. Clinton should hold a news conference and answer all the unanswered questions about her email. So, Rick, the press conference is this afternoon. Will she be asked every conceivable question about these emails?
I think that's a pretty good bet. I wish we had had this press conference a little bit early, as my buddy Lanny Davis would advise. You get out early, you get out in front of it all, and you tell the truth. I'm glad she's doing it. I'm glad she's going to answer the questions. Would have liked it a week ago.
Well, it's coming in the news days in the afternoon, Jack. I thought they were going to wait till about 5 o'clock, like the old days of the document dumps. But she's coming out this afternoon. Your take on it, Jack, all kidding aside.
Well, my take, JD, is I wonder if it's even possible, going back to what the president said in his interview, I wonder if it's even possible that Barack Obama is telling the truth about this. Because when you think about it, he gets a lot of emails, I'm sure, from various State Department employees. They're all state.gov. Now, he said he didn't learn of the private email until it came out in the press. How is that possible? Wouldn't he notice that her email wasn't state.gov? How would he not notice? I mean, this is a Harvard Law graduate. I don't think it's even possible that the president's telling the truth.
But for all intents and purposes, Rick, will the president get a pass from the media and the scrutiny remain on Hillary?
I don't think a pass is, I got to tell you, JD, I'm so disappointed. I think Jack is a really smart guy. I've been following him for years. Great strategist, and he just fell into the trap I knew somebody would fall into. Taking a perfectly good attack, which Hillary Clinton has deserved here, and the Republicans are, I expect them and understand them to make some hay, and taking it that step too far. Do you think that anybody out there really cares that Barack Obama was staring at her email addresses because, he's got nothing else to do? If
Rick,
that's the route you're going to go,
you're letting us...
Let me finish.
I love the
if that's the route you're going to go, you're letting us off the hook.
Okay,
yeah,
Jack,
but I love the compliment. You got to answer the question. How would he know? The president gets a lot of emails from state, from DOD. They're all state.gov, DOD.gov. Hers is different. Again, you focus on the question, is it possible that he wouldn't have noticed? How would he not notice that?
Yeah, it is. You want... Since I guess this requires a serious answer to an unserious question, every member of Congress, by the way, if they have different rules, but they also have different emails. And I would imagine, I've never gotten to share the president's email list, but I suspect he gets a few throughout the day. And do you know what? I suspect he doesn't look at the address, just like you and I. If I get an email from you, Jack, I'm not looking at the address. I'm probably reading the content of the email. But hey, I encourage you to go with this line. I truly, truly do. You may get Hillary off the hook when she probably doesn't deserve it.
Well, we will continue to see this. I do know, and I'm not trying to cop a plea for anybody, but I noticed that after an email address is used routinely, the name of the person goes on the communication, at least vis-a-vis the system I have. But still, I guess we'll put this under the realm of plausible deniability in the P file there for plausible deniability, although, Rick, you say it's a pratfall and a trap for Republicans who should
I encourage my
concentrate on
Republican
Hillary.
friends to just rock on that one. I truly encourage it.
Well, fair enough. Our civil discussion with the political panel will continue. There are more items with a difference of perspective and perhaps more than just a whiff of contention in today's news, and we will get to them with both Rick Ungar and Jack Berkman right after this timeout from America's Forum.
Joe, there are nothing but hardliners in Tehran. They've been killing Americans for 35 years. They killed hundreds of troops in Iraq. Now they control 5 capitals in the Middle East. There are nothing but hardliners in Tehran, and if they do all those things without a nuclear weapon, imagine what they'll do with a nuclear weapon. That's why we're trying to stop them from getting a bomb.
From MSNBC's Morning Joe this morning, that was Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas talking with my old congressional colleague Joe Scarborough, defending the letter Senator Cotton and 46 other GOP colleagues of Tom Cotton in the U.S. Senate sent to the leaders of Iran about a possible nuclear pact with the United States, and the senator also taking time to fend off accusations from President Obama that somehow the GOP has common cause with Iranian hardliners. That's the story we want to discuss now as we continue with our political panel. On the left, Rick Ungar, the senior political analyst from Forbes.com, and on the right, Jack Berkman, conservative strategist. So, this controversy over the nuclear deal more and more contentious this morning. The New York Daily News, actually, with a citation about this that we can take a look at. The cover calls the GOP senators traitors for sending the letter in the first place. I'd hope we'd have a look at that, but instead we see your smiling faces. That's a very serious charge. Rick, has this debate gotten so toxic that we're missing the major points of it?
Well, this was such a remarkable thing, JD. I got to tell you, I actually agree with the 47 senators that this agreement that's being negotiated, if it comes to one, should be submitted as a treaty to the Senate for ratification. I am on their side on that. The fact that they chose to proceed the way they did with an open letter to our enemy, I have to tell you, I was absolutely, completely stunned by it. I'll tell you what else is shocking me. Ever since I wrote my column on it yesterday, I have had more calls and emails from conservative friends who said I went too easy on these senators, that what they did was reprehensible. And these are all people who do not want an agreement with the Iranians on a nuclear pact. They agree with the senators on the fact that this should go through the Senate for ratification, and yet they too feel that this was absolutely seditious. I honestly, JD, it goes so far beyond the boundaries of what I would have thought acceptable. I just can't believe it happened. It's that big of a deal to me.
Sedition?
JD,
do you
I got to
agree,
be honest
Jack?
with you, this is seditious. Oh no, this word seditious, I don't know why we're making such a big deal about this letter. Look, they wanted to kill a bad deal. They should kill a bad deal. U.S. senators have a role in foreign policy.
Then write a letter to the American public.
Where does this idea come from that U.S. senators have no role in foreign policy and the only person who's allowed to speak or express his opinion is the king, Barack Obama? This is nonsense. This isn't the history of our country. You can go back 200 years and find senators in both parties who've done this. I mean, oh my goodness, look at Dick Lugar, look at Jesse Helms, look at, going back, look at Bob Packwood, look at Rick Santorum. I could sit here and give you a list of 100. Look, JD, here's the reality.
Jack, just take one of them. Just take one of Jack, just take one. Don't misinform the viewers. Take one of those people and tell us when they wrote a letter to an enemy foreign government in the middle of a negotiation. Pick anyone you want and give us the example, because I got to tell you something. I spent the day researching it yesterday, and there has never been an instance where anybody has done this.
Could I just ask you, with the minute that remains, let me just ask, because I thought about this, the overtures by Ted Kennedy to Mr. Gorbachev and other other Soviet leaders when Ronald Reagan was president. Does that not rank in the same realm, Rick? We've got about 45 seconds.
What was the overture that Ted Kennedy made? No, it doesn't. What was the overture that Ted Kennedy made to Mr. Gorbachev during negotiations over SALT?
As I recall it, it was the United States Senate is very interested in your views. The United States Senate looks forward to reviewing the actions taken, and the communication was widely interpreted as being rather solicitous and accommodating to the Soviet leader and not showing the
JD,
same respect
I'll tell you
to
what.
President Reagan.
It just so happens that I came across all communications yesterday. Not only did those communications not happen during the negotiation of the SALT treaty, and that was what it was relevant to, it wasn't even direct letters to him in the way these people did